So, hello, amazing people. I hope you've all been well and are blessed, and life has really been great for you. Welcome to episode number 7 of the Rising Again podcast. And first of all, I just want to thank everyone who's literally tuning in and tuning in. It's I'm so grateful, and may God bless you for that. May God do you well. So today I want to talk about, I don't know, my face has a lot of a jelly, I don't know, so it's kind of glowing, but that is okay. So today I want to talk about something very interesting, and something that literally applies to young people. And I don't know, I'm literally targeting this video should not go for more than 30 minutes, because I tend to talk a lot. So when I talk, I don't stop. So I want to talk about something that most of the people here won't like it, but it's like it will help you in your life. So just a minute, let me shift my camera. Okay, so that is literally great. So I want to talk about the reasons as to why young people should be single. I don't know if but it applies to both men and women. Like, at least you should have some period of singleness before you get into a relationship. And there are so many reasons. So let me just give you maybe a story before we delve into the episode today. I was sitting last Saturday. I was sitting down on some bench that just outside the, should I call it an apartment where I stay. Yeah. So, and now there was this Indian kid. She looked great, and she's very beautiful, and no strings attached. I don't mean this with ulterior motives. Yeah. So I was just kind of trying to have a chit chat with her, and it was literally a good vibe. Then it literally now dawned on my mind. I was like, eh, there there are some struggles that every person would want to have in their lives. For example, raising your kids and seeing them grow. I know most of the people here want to have families. I don't know, if you don't want to have a family, that is okay. Then yeah, do you? It's okay. So there are some struggles that give people meaning and purpose. So I was literally now at that point trying to reflect. It's very hard, especially when our parents were raising us. They had to go through a lot of struggles. It's not very easy by the end. So that's why sometimes we should be grateful and empathetic to them. That's why there's some sort of forgiveness that you need to have before you proceed with your life. If you grew up in a family where you are mistreated, forgive your parents and now decide to focus on your life, so that your kids won't also struggle or suffer the trauma that you went through. When you forgive your parents, you start looking at life in a different perspective. You drop the victim mode, and now you become a person who is fully focused on healing and becoming a 2.0 version of themselves. So now let's delve into it, talking about families. I know every person in this who is watching this channel has like an aspiration of becoming either a mom or a dad at some point in their lives, and that is literally the greatest blessing we can give to ourselves, isn't it? Like, we just want to see our kids grow. We want to have fun with our wives. We want to, like, yeah, we want to have fun, but it's work. So, and okay, so let me now come back. You want to have a family, and I was thinking, what is the best kind of life I would give to my kids? Is it a life where they will have to struggle like me? No. So it's a life where I've worked on myself. I've become the best version of myself. I've become a person who is really rooted and submitted to the principles of God, and I've become a person who knows how to treat a good woman. Like, you need to treat a woman in a very good way, so that I won't be mistreating their mother. And now, okay, let me now come back to this whole essence. Most of us, when we're still young, we tend to fall in love for the wrong reasons. And what is this? Most of us fall in love because, first of all, we think love is okay, love is good. We think love is all about the roses in the bed, or the butterflies in our stomach, which is literally misleading. Or most of us fall in love because there's there's a privilege you get to enjoy. For example, we get sex from the relationship. Okay, it's not bad. I'm not here to label anyone. I'm not Mr. Messiah. So most of us tend to fall in love because we can't control our sexual urges, because we know that when we fall in love, we'll actually get sex from our dating partners. So, okay, that means, first of all, if the foundation of something is wrong, that thing cannot withstand the test of time. It will literally fall down and flip. So, what is this particular thing? Like, why should we be single? Why should people, this applies to both men and women, but there are topics or there are things that I will now stress for, especially for men. So, first of all, number one is the need to heal from a childhood trauma and develop a better version of yourself. So, and I was kind of thinking that, especially for most of us, the Kenyan audience, I don't know if this applies to the audience in the US and China and the UK. Maybe you can just comment on the YouTube channel or on TikTok down there. So, if most of us tend to have freedom the moment that we are done with high school, so we get out, that is the only time where we have a say or the discretion or authority in what we want for our lives when you're in campus. Because before or prior, we've only been subjected to the things that our parents think they are best for us. And okay, our parents want the best for us, but they don't know what is good for us anyway. So, and I want apologize for this. Yeah, your parent wants you to become maybe this because they think about the best, like maybe it's about security, like job security, but maybe you have aspirations, you want to become an author, you want to become something else. And I don't say you should drop, by the way, you shouldn't drop your life, like the education. You know, Kenya is very different. Don't listen to the people in the UK for long. So, because their lives are the demographics there, the technology, like everything is very different, the circumstances and surroundings. So, you have the freedom to work on your life and become a better person. So, don't use this time to now distract yourself by getting into a relationship. I know most of us have suffered childhood trauma. And then when you get into campus, instead of working on fixing your trauma, you're now getting into a relationship. So, imagine how much trash you're bringing to the other person. Maybe the other person, let's say, came from a safe family where the parents were very good, they loved each other or what. And now you here, you came from a dysfunctional family, you have deep and underlying insecurities, and you're projecting them. And you find that your girlfriend or boyfriend asks you, what is wrong with you? Like, you know, there's also an aspect of the best way, an effective way to communicate, and I'll be looking at that in the next episode. So, like, what is wrong with you? Why can't you just calm down and be peaceful? Like, you're just an energy vampire. Someone comes to you, they feel like they have big energy, but the moment they leave, they feel like everything has been broken down. It's because you need to work on yourself. You work on healing your trauma, work on becoming a better version of yourself, work on becoming a person who is not entitled, but a person who is grateful for everything. And that's why you can go and watch my episode when I talked about childhood experiences. That was the first episode I talked about. So guys, you can go back and watch that episode, then you'll come back and understand why you need to stay single before you get into a relationship. Number two is about spirituality, like having a personal relationship with God. And why am I talking about this? You find that most of us have been in maybe staunch Christian families, Muslim families, or maybe the religion you're ascribing to. So you only tended to go to church or to go to the mosque because your parents compelled you to do that. So you've never gotten to a point where you came to learn of God in your own personal capacity. So in a way, it's like it was just a complementary or a compelling influence that made you go like you're just a church goer. You've never come to understand the things of God from a personal experience. So what I need you to do is use this time, try to analyze your own, like try to know God from a personal level. Try to analyze your own life unfolding. You know, by that there are very many things that people suffer from. Or there are very many people have different battles or struggles. For example, mine was a struggle with pornography and masturbation. And when I started going deeper into my relationship with God, He helped me like overcome the distractions. I also had to put in a lot of boundaries and guiding points. For example, I don't use my phone at night on social media. It's either I'm watching a sermon, I'm watching a podcast, or I'm reading a book or reading my Bible. Sorry. So, work number 2, to know God from your own personal level. Like fix your spiritual relationship with God. It's gone where you should don't affix yourself to this point where you just knew God because your parents kind of forced you to go to the church or the mosque or whatever religion they ascribe to. So, and you find that you can only know yourself better when you submit yourself to the principles and the dictates of God. So that's when you realize that you become a better human being when you subject your life to God, because your ego, your pride will be tamed down. Number 2, God will start directing you on the things you need to get away from your life, or the things that you need to do to become a better person. And that is my own personal experience, and I'm talking from experience. So number 3 is about financial stability or independence. I don't know. It's just about financial stability, not independence. Independence come on later. So imagine now you're fresh from campus, or you're still in campus, and you depend on your parents entirely. Or maybe some people started hustles. It's okay. That is tailored to you. So at the point where you have financial stability, you've come to know God from your own personal level. You've healed from your childhood trauma, and you've become a better version of yourself. You take these boxes, okay, so we'll talk about the 4th one. So, a financial stability. Most of people, like me, for example, I was in campus, I was depending on my parents for everything. Yeah, my head tried to finance me, my rent, food. Okay, to go to a point in 3rd year where I was like, I literally depending on my parents for everything is becoming tough. And I used to sell street coffee. Yeah, I talked about this in the lies we've been sold about money. So at that point, I started learning about the idea of trying to become a better person who just is not entitled. First of all, it helped me learn that making money was tough. So at some point when my dad would call me before and tell me he didn't have money, I would be like, no, why don't you have money? It can't happen. Why don't you have money? So learn to do something. Like, you see something in the book of Genesis, before God says it's not good for a man to be alone, He gives him work. Like, there's a job that Adam is given before a woman is introduced into his life. So the whole essence, why are you skipping stages? You don't have a job, you're not stable financially, then you're running into a relationship. You'll be screwed. And that's, most of the people are insecure. When they see their girls, I don't know. Yeah, honestly, it's been long since I was last in a relationship. So, and it's not like I'm eager into getting into one. I still have like some time before I get it. I'm working on myself. It's not like I'm trying to avoid. I'm still working on myself. So, work on something. At least have some sort of financial independence where you can facilitate and pay your bills. Like, you have your own life going on, so that when someone else comes into your life, it's not like they become your everything. It's not like it's the only pillar on which your life is fixed, so that when the pillar falls down, you're screwed up. We've seen so many people commit suicide just because the person they've been depending on decided to flip the switch and walk away, and now you're stuck. Because life happens. Life happens. Sometimes we should just stop being ignorant and stupid. I won't apologize for that, but let us just stop being ignorant. Like, what will happen if the only person you're depending on, like, maybe they die, God forbid, or maybe they decide to, because they found a better person, and they have the right to walk away because you're not in a marriage. And something funny about relationships is that there's nothing binding. It's not like there's a contract on. I wonder when I see people cry because they've been left. Like, was there any agreement there that was binding between the parties? No. There's a time I woke up at 3 a.m. No, it was 3:30. So, I heard some noises around and I was kind of peeping through my window and I saw this guy. This is just some udaku I'm giving you anyway. Like I'm gossiping and I said I will not gossip. But it relates to the topic I'm talking about. It's not like I want to label them as something. So this guy they had a conflict with the girlfriend, and now the guy says it's over. And by the way, I don't know everything about that the talk, but when I was kind of listening because I stood on my at my window for about 5 minutes, I kind of perceived that the girl was at fault. Okay, girls will attack me for this because the guy was saying the girl came back late. She didn't communicate and tell him where she was and why she would come in late. Then it's kinda, I don't know. But just make sure you date right. Don't date crazy people. That is the whole point. Then, okay, financial stability. Work on yourself. Have some money. Enjoy life in your own ways. Go and meet different people. So that at the time when you're really settling for me, you won't feel like now, okay, we are now in a relationship and it's about dating for marriage. People who are dating for marriage, lift up your hands. Hello. Okay. So it's about dating for marriage. Maybe you have a long-term relationship and you're really eager of marrying this person. Now you've never taken time because you chose at this point where you are not independent financially. You didn't have some money. Money gives people choices. You didn't travel. You didn't have like exposure. So you married at your own convenience because you needed cheap sex. So then, now when you make money, you start seeing your type. Girls say that they will never build up a man because when they build up a man, when he becomes wealthy, now he starts seeing his type. Sometimes it's like scarcity humbles people, especially men. You'll never know the real personality of a man until he has some money. So girls, stop building up a man. You should never build up a man. Let a man work on himself. I'm not saying you should come to me when I have this car. I won't like you, honestly. At that time I'll be having a wife anyway. I'll be having a wife and my kids. They'll be using it. So you should not wait until I've built everything. It's like I'm work in progress, you're work in progress, then we meet and we build the empire. And that is what we are all looking forward to. So financial stability. It will give you a variety of choices. You'll go to Malindi, you'll go to Rwanda where they say girls are very pretty. You'll go to America, you'll go to Dubai. America, UK, at least travel. And before you make the decision to settle with someone, know that this is the best out of the... Okay, it's not like you'll always find people who are better than your partner. So there's a point of like self-control and contentment, because you have to, at the end of the day, you'll have to choose. So at least now, but before you choose, you've had choices because you worked on becoming financially stable and you traveled, you got to see new places, you got to meet new people, so that you don't choose at your convenience. You don't choose to date your classmate. Then you assume, especially for girls, girls have a lot to lose when they get into a relationship. For men, what are we losing? I've flipped you. Then when I decide to change, I'm done. The damage is on you. It's not like I'm advising men to do that, but now for girls particularly, before you fall in love, which is particularly very stupid. Why are you falling in love? You grow in love. You grow in becoming a better person. Then you attract another better person who is also a work in progress. Then you grow in love. These things of falling in love, you'll fall to depression. Then you'll fall to the heartbreak. The same way you fell in love, you'll fall into depression. You'll fall into heartbreaks. That thing. There's no idea of falling in love. It's all about emotions. So work on yourself. Try and meet new people. When you're financially stable, you'll have the room to meet people and you learn. You see that, hey, my chest is shifting. So at that time, you won't really have been committed to someone. And I'm talking about sexual purity also. So, work on yourself, financial stability. You'll have choices. And before you settle down with someone, at least you'll have made an informed decision. You'll not be making a decision based on your convenience. So that is financial stability. That is number 1, and 2 applies to both men and women. So number 3 is about finding your purpose, and this applies particularly to men. I would advise all the guys watching, like men particularly, or gentlemen watching this, young men watching this episode, to go and read the book The Way of the Superior Man by David Dida. Go and read that book. It's about finding your purpose. Your purpose must come before your relationship. That's what he talks about. Your purpose ought and must come before your relationship. It's particularly like there's a point of sarcasm. When girls date campus boys, it's not like campus boys are not mature, and you should drop that ideology. Maturity is not tied to age. There are people who are at their 50s and they are very ignorant and stupid. I am not saying sorry for that. You'll meet them and you'll understand life. So, like, a man should find his purpose. When you connect deep to God, he starts to give you a purpose with your life. For example, for me, imagine my trauma became my purpose. God told me, help other young people who are struggling with depression, who are struggling with a pathetic self-mindset, who are struggling with an addiction to pornography, masturbation, alcohol, weed, because they need to fix the underlying issue, which is the trauma they went through. So when you develop your purpose as a man, it kind of gives you the masculine essence. Work on yourself, go to the gym, kick it hard, meet men. Before you get into a relationship as a man, you should have men surrounding you, because they will really challenge you. They'll call you out when you're doing bullshit. They call you out and they tell you, bro, this is not what you're supposed to do. We know you better than this. So work on developing a purpose as a man, so that you won't be naggy in a relationship. You'll be calling your girl 10 times just because you don't have anything else to do. You're sitting on the bed all day, especially for men that chat on WhatsApp. Level up, man. Why are you chatting? Like, okay, it's good to chat maybe for 30 minutes, but there's someone who's literally spent the whole day chatting on WhatsApp with random girls. There's a day I was seated when we were graduating. Then, it literally moved me, seeing how many contacts of women the men around me had. For me, I don't chat with a lot of girls. In fact, I've really restricted the kind of girls that have access to my life. Unless you're my friend, I don't even ask girls for their numbers nowadays. It's bullshit. Why? Unless I'm building like connections or some friendships, I would do that. But just going to a random girl in the streets, hey, can I have your number? Beat me in the face. If you see me, ask you for your number next time. If you see a man, ask for your number next time on the street. Slap him in the face. When they sue you, I'll look for an advocate to represent you. Anyway, I'm joking. Don't slap a man. He will file a case for assault, and I'm not an advocate yet, so I won't represent you. I'm still a lawyer. I'll just advise you and tell you, go look for an advocate, then pay him. The fees, the advocate fees, then he'll represent you. So, what was I saying? Purpose for men. Yeah. Look, identify your purpose in life. Then, from that, when the essence of the masculine is purpose, the essence of the feminine is love. That's why the whole bullshit about Miss Independent, boss lady, is just cringe. You'll be frustrated in life. You need a man needs you. I don't know. Yeah, men need women need men. So this whole idea about competition is stupidity. It's like ignorance. God created men and women. There's a reason as to why God created both of us. We need to complement each other. We don't need to complete each other. This completion mentality is what screws up people. You come to a relationship, you've not worked on yourself, you've not worked on fixing your trauma, you don't even have some financial stability. Then, now, when everything goes, this is your pillar, the only pillar you are attaching yourself on in your life. Then when the pillar falls, you're screwed. So, let God become your pillar instead of making another man or a woman your pillar. Let God become your pillar, because God will never disappoint you. Find your purpose as a man before you get into a relationship. Then number 4, sorry. It's all about like the reason as to like choosing, I talked about financial stability and it gives you a variety of choices. You'll know that this is the best that I've found and I'm settling, and from this point I'll have self-discipline, contentment and self-control, because you'll always find better after you marry someone. So when you choose at this point, you're choosing from the basis of your current circumstances. At least when you grow, you fix your trauma, you have some money, you found out your purpose as a man, or for a woman, by that for financial independence, I forgot something for men. Don't ever marry a woman, or don't ever date a woman whose life is being financed by the parents. Don't become a father to a girlfriend or the person you're still dating. Only adopt the financial responsibilities when you've married someone. You've seen men pay school fees for girls in campus. Then, with the belief that when the girl finishes school, she will marry them. When the girl finishes, she's found another person. Then they kill each other. You know, this stupidity that we see in the mainstream media, or I don't know, the current age is it's just frustrating. Don't ever adopt a girl and become her father when you're dating her. That's why both of us need to be paying our own bills. We need to have some money. Not like a girl should have everything. And a woman, don't ever marry a guy who is talking about the 50-50 bullshit. A man must provide. Okay, there's at a point where he won't have money and you'll support him. But the 50-50 mantra, drop it. As a man watching this channel, that 50-50 thing, leave it to the sissies and the mama's boys. Yeah, leave it to them. So, when you choose, after you've worked on yourself, you'll choose someone who's also worked on themselves. So, you won't choose someone based on your convenience and just because you need cheap sex. You won't choose someone who has insecurities. You choose a better man or a better woman because you've also worked on yourself. And now, the whole point I want to talk about this is you find some people have literally worked on themselves either as a man or a woman. Then when they are settling to pick someone they want to get into dating with, or maybe like for marriage, that is the whole thing I'm talking about. I don't talk about dating, the other dating. If you're not dating for marriage, in fact, log out. Don't watch the other part of this episode. I don't address such kind of madness. You want to spin girls around, you want to have sex with random dudes. In fact, don't ever watch this channel. I've given you the permission. So I'm talking about people who are dating for marriage. You are dating this girl because you respect her and you want to marry her. You want her to become the mother to your kids. So until you make that decision, stay alone. Until you reach at a point where you are ready to date someone for marriage, build yourself up. For a woman, until you've worked on yourself to become this woman that will be feminine, traditional, has motherly instincts and values in herself, stay away. Like, don't even bother thinking about a man coming into your life. So, work on yourself, you'll become a better person. The law of attraction says you attract who you are. So if you're complaining, you know, there's literally this stupidity that people think that karma won't catch up with you. You know, Chris Williamson says in a particular episode of his Nini podcast, it's called Modern Wisdom. You can go and watch his podcast. He says karma is just people repeating their actions so many times until the consequences of the same actions catch up with them. So imagine I was watching a Benjamin Zulu live yesterday. So there's this girl who says that she's never found these serious men. Then she was asked, like, what have you been doing at your early childhood or at your early youthful stage? You can't expect yourself to attract a good man when all you've been doing in your life is doing the degeneracy. You've been sleeping around with everyone. You've been taking alcohol. You know all the clubs that exist in your place. Then, now you go sanctify yourself in church. Now Jesus saved me. By the way, when you marry in church, be very careful. Don't go and marry Miss Jesus saved me or Mr. Jesus saved me. Jesus saved people, but you are not their savior. You're not the Messiah anyway. Look for a person who has preserved themselves, who has worked on becoming a better version of themselves, and who will become a responsible person in a family. Because the best decision you ever, like the most crucial decision you ever make as a person, is the partner or the person you'll choose to marry. I don't call them partners, you're not equal. So the person you'll choose to marry will determine your success or failure. So that's why I really need us, both of us, men and women, young people, let us work on ourselves before we choose to get into a relationship. And remember that you're only getting into a relationship when we are ready for marriage. So till next time, I appreciate you guys watching this podcast. Remember to subscribe, comment, and share, and I leave you with the peace of God. Whatever you have, submit your plans to God, and He shall prosper you. Thank you, and bye.